and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Lorraine Durham, and this is our weekly series where we talk to people who have lost weight on GLP-1 medications like Wegovy, Ozempic, Rybelsus, Zepbound, Mounjaro, Tirzepatide, semaglutide, and all things GLP-1 related. I've personally lost over 50 pounds on compounded tirzepatide, and my goal is to talk to other people and ask them how they did it, any tips or any tricks we might pick up along the way, and everybody wants to see someone who they can relate to. If you like this segment, or even if you don't, we hope you will like and subscribe to our channel, The Downsized. And today we're talking to Elissa Bateman. Hi, how are you?
Hello. Hi.
Nice to have you with us today. You have a nice background there. It looks like you're in like a city, a city
Yeah,
view.
I
That's
live in
fun.
Houston, so about 6 months out of the year, I can't do my walking, but it's so hot. But right now we've got great fall weather, so I'm back to getting my stuffs outside instead
Nice.
of just around circles in the gym. So,
Yeah. Well, awesome.
yeah.
Well, tell us about your a little bit about yourself and your weight loss journey.
Yeah, so I am 43. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 kids. And let's see, so I started at 235 and I weighed in today because I knew I was going to do this. And I think I've lost, let's see, I actually forget my weight now, which is I feel like a sign that I'm totally emotionally separated.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really great. I think I was 166. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
almost 70 pounds. Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm almost
Wow.
to a normal BMI. I'm 5'7".
Okay.
So yeah,
Tall.
I'm getting I'm
I'm
getting
very
there to a
yeah.
normal BMI, and then the goal is to really focus on getting muscle, get that muscle back on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What's your goal weight, would you say?
So actually, I set a goal body fat percentage. So
Oh,
that is 21%. And I've been
okay.
getting DEXA scans. I've gotten 3 so far, but I am not anywhere near 21% body fat. So once I get into a normal BMI, I think I'm going to kind of just shift to really trying to slow the weight loss and
Mhm.
put on the muscle.
So for people who might not know what a DEXA scan is, can you explain a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, so it's supposed to be the most accurate way to measure body fat that's easy for me to do, at least. So there's just a little place down the road. You pay them like 75 bucks. You lay down for about 8 minutes, and it's they use there's a little bit of radiation. I think it's about as much as 4 bananas. So they just sort of scan your body, and then they come back with information about your muscle, your lean body mass, your bone density, and your fat mass. And they'll even break it up how much belly fat, how much visceral fat do you
Mm.
have, and just kind of some metrics that feel really good to track when you're losing weight. And it's really encouraging.
Yeah,
So,
so
and
you did one at the beginning before you started, or when did you do the first
no,
one?
I wish I would have.
Yep.
I think I was just too scared. So I think I did the first one when I was about 205.
Oh,
That was in about July. No, I'm sorry, that was in May. And then I lost another 15 pounds and I did one. It was about 2 months later. And
mhm.
then I did another one about 2 months later. And when I did the first one, even though I didn't have a starting one, I just saw that I imagined that I'd lost a lot of muscle. I believe I was more
Yeah,
muscular starting off. So that
yeah.
kind of lit a fire under me to start tracking my protein intake, and then just start lifting a little bit just to kind of trigger those muscle fibers to grow. Um,
Yeah. How much do you track your protein? Do you have like a protein gram goal that you try to hit?
Yeah, so right now I'm using an app called Macro Factor, and you put in your stats and then it coaches you.
Oh,
It's really interesting, and I set my protein goal at moderate, and I think I'm at about 126 grams of protein right
wow.
now is my
That's
target.
a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot for me. I have to supplement with protein shakes. And then every week it will adjust it slightly up or down based on your scale weight. I use a Renpho scale, so it has a body fat estimate. I don't know how
Yeah.
accurate it is,
Yeah.
but it uses that also to kind of estimate how much protein I should be getting.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, but 126 grams is hard. like
It's a lot.
really
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
So what are some of the things you're eating? I'd imagine you'd have to get about 40 grams a meal
Yeah, I also
more?
probably try to eat like 4 times a day if I can,
Okay.
4 or 5 small meals. So that helps. And then I used to always have a latte in the morning,
Mhm.
like big coffee nerd, and I switched to they're called super coffees. And it just is like a coffee drink. It doesn't have a thick consistency, but you get 10 grams of protein. So I start my morning with that while I'm getting the kids ready for school.
Mhm.
And then I'll do the school drop off. And then when I get home, I'll use some Fairlife milk and some whey protein powder and make a protein shake. So that's kind
Mhm.
of like, okay, I've gotten in a pretty big, like usually 50 or 60 grams of protein. And I'll also add some psyllium husks to that. Yeah, just a
Very
little,
convenient.
just to kind
Yeah.
of keep things going. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was on a kick where I would make like kind of like those Starbucks egg bites.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like, okay, I can get veggies and eggs in the morning. And
Yeah.
then I just got lazy. So I'm gonna start those again though. They were great because you could make like
A
48 in a
bunch. Yeah.
batch. And
And
yeah,
put them
yeah.
in the freezer, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and, like, my husband and son would also eat them, so that was really great.
Yeah.
I also went through a phase where I was trying to get more iron and fiber, so I would have, like, multigrain Cheerios and Fiber One, but honestly, like, my life is too crazy, and if I can't grab it and eat it, like, I'm not gonna keep up with it, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just the phase that I'm in and, you know.
Do you cook differently for your family, or does everybody eat what you and your husband are eating?
So we do a combo. Actually, we do a lot of door dashing.
Okay. No
Okay,
judgment.
so
Yeah.
yeah, like life is hectic. We have a 3-year-old, so
Yeah.
she kind of just eats like we try to get her to eat off of our stuff, but she just eats a lot of like yogurt.
Yeah.
But for the 3 older people in the family, we kind of have our go-to like Mendocino Farms, Flower Child, where they have salads where they have the calorie count and you can
Uh-huh.
add like chicken breast or tofu to
Oh,
it.
okay.
So we'll do that. And then we use a lot of like just like frozen bowls, like a Mediterranean bowl, and then we'll buy a rotisserie chicken and just add chicken to it. And we
Yeah, that's a great
everything
idea.
out so we can put it in the scale. That's kind of like our main dinners. Sometimes I'll get fancy, but not usually. Not on weekdays at least. Like
Yeah, it's hard when you've got kids and, every people work and you're going every direction, and your
yeah.
your older son, is he high school or middle school age?
He's 12. So
Okay.
he's actually during COVID, he learned to cook really well. So he can
Okay.
cook, but he really likes to make like steak fries and like
Ooh.
corn that like street corn and like things
Ooh.
that would hurt my stomach now.
Oh, yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
like they're so good. Like they're his
Yeah.
specialties. So I need to get him to also make like Mediterranean bowls.
Yeah.
Um,
Flip 'em some recipes.
yeah,
Try
yeah,
this, honey. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't cook at all. My
Okay.
husband Christopher cooks all of our stuff. So, and if on days where he's like, I'm not cooking, then we DoorDash or
Yeah.
we eat out. So we're always looking for things that are, quick, easy, convenient. There's a place near us called Cava. I don't know if
Okay.
it's a national chain, but they make the Mediterranean kind of bowl things. And it's kind of like Subway where you just pick the things you
Oh,
want in the
oh,
bowl.
that's great.
So we do those.
That's
We
really
do that.
yeah.
We do those a lot.
So basically any Mediterranean restaurant, we feel like we can get stuff and it's not gonna hurt our stomachs. My husband especially are always had a sensitive stomach,
Mm,
and then the medication we're both on Zepbound or
okay.
tirzepatide, actually.
Okay.
He has to be really careful with what he eats, like, can't
Is
be
it
too
greasy
spicy.
things? Oh, spicy
Fatty
things.
and fatty,
Yeah.
and, I mean, he'll just be down for, like, a week with stomach
Oh,
problems if it
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mediterranean is usually safe for us,
Yeah.
and I'm lucky. I can eat a lot without feeling sick, but a couple of times, it's kind of just made my stomach feel a little off, so I try to be careful.
Yeah. What dosage are you on currently?
Right now, I'm on 10,
Okay.
So when I started, we both just started with our primary care doctor, who's a concierge doctor. So she had all this time to talk to us about it. But she had researched Ozempic when it first came out and didn't really know anything about Zepbound. And we started right when there was a lot of Ozempic shortages and Zepbound was brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of just kept her philosophy based on what worked at the beginning when she started prescribing Ozempic. So what that meant for us was you're going to go up every 4 weeks, whether you're feeling okay or not.
Yeah.
Just deal with the side effects. And like, if you don't think if you're not ready to go up, then I'm not going to prescribe it for you anymore.
Oh,
So
like it
yeah, it
all?
was pretty
Oh my
intense.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Like she's not messing around.
Yeah.
So so we both were going once I got to really once I started, but really when I got to 7.5, and that was like the Goldilocks dose for me.
Mhm.
Wasn't having a lot of side effects. I was able to eat, 1,200 calories a day, but I wasn't hungry. It was amazing. And then I went up to 10 and I got super fatigued, like 3 days a
Mm.
week. I was just
Yeah.
napping 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I had like some skin pain and my hair was falling out a lot.
Yeah.
And so I talked to her about it and she was just kind of like, no, sorry, you're going to have to move up. And then that same month, my husband had one of like his first like horrible stomach episode. She took him off of it, tested him for pancreatitis. He didn't have pancreatitis. He just had like very delayed emptying. But like he was so sick, he missed work and it was
Oh,
bad.
wow.
So he had to start over at 2.5. So when that happened, she was like, okay, I'll let you stay at 10 for one more month. Yeah. So then she pushed me up to 12.5. And then I got another DEXA scan and I saw that I had been losing a lot of muscle. And
Mm.
I think it's because I just wasn't able to get my calories in. And I
Yeah.
was just not feeling like a good mom. And it was not great. So then we went to Mochi. Yeah. Because I just thought, well, these people are so experienced with seeing patients all the time who have these
Yeah.
same issues.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, let's move you back down to 10 and see how you do. And at
Yeah.
that point, I handled it really well. And then, so right after I started the medication, we found out that my son had a brain tumor. It's non-malignant. He's going to be fine, but we're monitoring it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of medical bills. We hit our deductible in 1 month, and then in January, we'll hit it again. But
Wow.
it's just kind of changed our financial strategy. And we were already stretching to have 2 people on Zepbound with the discount card because
Yeah.
insurance doesn't cover it. So we both went to compounded and we've been really happy. So we did that for about 2 months until there was drama with the FDA, but so far things are looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're happy to have something that's more affordable. And I think I would stay with them even if we weren't able to get the compounded because I like having like a provider who knows, how this works
Yeah.
for
It sounds like
everyone.
your first one. Well, I've never heard of it. I've
Yeah,
never
I
heard
know.
of somebody acting like that. That's
I know.
kind of
It's
crazy.
really
So
interesting. So the reason why she recommended it for us was my husband and I were both in our early 40s and it's kind of like our health just we both were at like 5.7 A1C. My cholesterol had gone up, my HDL had gone down, and my triglycerides had gone up. So we were just kind of like we had to do something. And so I don't know if that was part of her motivation to just have us
yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that
push it
she
up.
suggested it. It's good that she got you on it.
Yes.
So I guess that's the good part there. Here's some before and after pictures of
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah. So I married a Disney adult. So all my all my pictures are from Disney World.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one was actually several years ago. And that was about kind of a weight that I kind of maintained for probably since I was postpartum with my son, who's 12.
Mhm.
And then the second picture is from about a month into starting it. So I already felt a lot better. I have had joint pain since I was in junior high,
Huh.
and I just felt like my inflammation was just like leaving my body. My joint pain was better.
Yeah.
walking around Disney World all day was way easier. So I
Yeah.
was feeling really good at that point.
Mhm. Awesome.
And
Oh, and
then,
who's you
yeah,
guys
and then
now?
this was a couple of weeks ago. I think we're both about maybe 85% into like getting towards our goal weights, but we also
Uh-huh.
both want to put on more muscle. So maybe 50% of the way into kind of our journey of like reshaping things.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
yeah,
So your husband, did you tell me how much he's lost? How much is your husband?
he's lost about 65 pounds. And I've
Okay.
lost
Oh, wow.
almost 70 now. Yeah. So
Wow.
together we've lost our 12-year-old son.
You've lost a whole
A
12-year-old
whole
person.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's amazing. I mean, it's great to have, I can say it's great to have your husband involved because it makes it a little bit easier. Have you ever tried to diet without him being on board?
Maybe. So what worked really well for him was keto. And I would
Oh,
try to
okay.
do it with him. And it did work for me one time, but now I realize I just wasn't eating because you get so much satiety from the fat. But generally it didn't work for me because it would take me forever to start losing weight and I would just kind of give up. But he could just lose 40 pounds in 2 months from keto.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, this is the first time that your weight loss has ever kept up with mine."
Oh, wow.
So yeah, yeah.
Ha ha.
Yeah, I know, I
Yeah.
know. And
That's
I
great.
tried lots of other things besides keto. I also tried fasting, intermittent fasting, and then even like, 48 hours of fasting. And that worked. But then afterwards, like my body would go into like, I must eat everything mode.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it kinda sends
um,
you into overdrive, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So I don't think that's sustainable for me. I think now I'm making a lot of small changes
Mhm.
that have really added up over time. And as I go into maintenance, I plan on keeping those, but just adding in more heavy lifting and yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about your exercise routine. What does that look like?
Yeah. Okay, so at first my doctor was like, you just need to get into zone 2 um, heart rate range to work on raising your HDL. So when I started, I was just walking the dog or putting my baby in the stroller and walking her. 30 minutes a day was what I would try. And really, I was getting to the bottom of zone 2 from just walking around the neighborhood.
Is that like 120-ish, 100
Yeah, about
100
I think 125 maybe
Okay. Yeah.
for, and then as
For
you get
your age.
older,
Yeah.
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 And also I will say, like, if I hadn't been on the medication, I don't think I could have done that because I would have joint pain and I'd feel like
Oh.
I overdid it just from like
Oh.
walking.
Oh,
The
wow.
next day I
Mhm.
would like really pay for it. So it was like
Yeah.
all of a sudden I was able to do it and I was happy. Then my heart rate started coming down. And so then I'd have to like jog with the stroller.
To get to that same
And
level. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So then I would like go down to the fitness center at our gym and just like do the elliptical just to make it a little easier. So after about 2 or 3 months, I was talking to my doctor about like, well, I want to do something, but I'm intimidated by the gym. I actually hate the gym and I don't want to do that. So she
Yeah.
recommended going to Pilates and I
Okay.
loved it. Like I loved my teacher. I still had to do like a one-on-one class. Like I didn't want to be in a class, but it was just a very like I felt very in my body. It was just very like affirming and I felt strong and it was hard
Yeah.
and it was really enjoyable. So I really liked that. But once I got the DEXA scan and I felt that I'd lost muscle, I was like, oh no, we're not doing
Mhm.
this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna use the gym. So we have a gym where they have great childcare and they also have like a separate little small room where it's mostly older people and me. And I can go into this like smaller room and
Uh-huh.
it's such a much better environment for me. And they have
Yeah.
some machines and some free weights, but not much. But I had to start with I bought a plan that had just kind of PDFs of what you should be doing. And the first time all I did was try to do the warm up. Like I just didn't want to go. I imagine that everyone's watching me trying to work out and like, she doesn't know what she's doing. She can't use that machine. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
No one cares about me.
No one cares. Yeah.
No. But somehow like being in that room also really helped. Like there was just less going on. So I kept doing that until I finally was like familiarizing myself. And the routine was about 6 different like compound movements, like squats, some like, pull downs or whatever. So it's hitting a lot of muscles in a pretty efficient amount of time, but they were just like a little bit complicated for me. But once I got used to that, then sometimes I would go out onto the main floor and, but you're kind of like fighting with people out there to get space. And I still don't really like it. Did that. Yeah. And then, so about a month into taking the medication, we found out that my son had this brain tumor and we didn't know which way it was going to go. And we were very anxious for about a month.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just kind of living like minute to minute, trying to like make everything special for everyone in the family and help everyone else. And so so once I got over the first month of that, around that time was when I started finding the gym. And as I started lifting more, I realized that was helping my mental health even more than the walking, which was already up. So I started lifting heavy weights because I felt like I can control this. Like I can control how much weight I lift. And I feel like really empowered, even though I'm just like pushing something up. Like this makes me feel like I can do something in my life. So I leaned into it pretty heavy, really just for the mental health benefits. And as things have gone on and we've gotten more sure that this is just kind of going to be something that we monitor for him, and I've kind of eased back on the weightlifting because I don't feel like I need it as much. So now I mostly, just because of my schedule, I mostly just do like an at-home workout with dumbbells. I also work out with kettlebells. So they still like make me feel good mentally, but I only go to the gym like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks if I have time and
if you have time,
I still enjoy it. But like I feel like most of my muscle building is from the Pilates, the kettlebells, and I use 15-pound dumbbells, so they're pretty heavy. They're not the heaviest, but it's something. It's still like, when I do a whole bunch of squats, like I definitely feel it.
I picked up some 15 dumbbells today at the gym. I do this kind of like it's a bar class, but it also incorporates some like hand weights. And the instructor said, well, today get between 5 and 10 pound weights. So I went back there and all the 10 pounds were gone. I was like, I came back with 15s. I'm like, are 15s too heavy? She said, yes. So I'm like, all right, well, let me dig around back here some more. So I came back with 8. So but I want to get more into the the weight room and the weight. It can be very intimidating. Like you said, I go to a gym that has a senior center in the gym. So it gets a lot of, I guess, 55 and up crowd in there. So sometimes it's not. There's a lady in the class today. Her name's Patty. I think she's like in her late 70s. And I said, Patty, do you go over to that other side? You're so strong. Do you go over there and lift? She goes, oh no. She goes, well, why don't you go check it out and let us know how it is? I was like, okay. But anyway, so I mean, that's great that you found lifting and it helps you with your, mentally. And so, maybe try to make time for that for yourself and prioritize that for yourself.
It's really good for my mental health, but it's funny that you do classes and are intimidated by the weights, because I really want to do the classes, but I'm still too scared.
Oh yeah, no, I love a class. I'm up in the front row. I'm singing songs. I'm doing the dances. I'm like high-fiving the ladies. Like, yeah, I love a class. It's more like but I've gone like so long now. I've been going to the same place, I guess, about 2 years. So I've just gotten to know all the people and I'll just talk to anybody. And I feel like you could probably talk to anybody as well.
Yeah. Totally. I wouldn't stop talking.
So, I mean, and everybody comes in these classes like not really sure what they're doing and looking for support. So I really like
Yeah.
that kind of group
Okay.
environment. So,
I need to find like the class mayor because I'm like, I don't think I'm very coordinated. What if I just get like too pooped out in the middle of the class? Like, I don't know.
yeah, no, then
So,
you just kind of, do what you can do. So,
okay.
yeah, but no. So let's talk about your side effects. You said you got really tired on some doses. Do you have
Right.
any side effects now that you've kind of found
Mm,
your right
I'm
dose?
I'm pretty good. I do have a little bit of, I think it's called allodynia, just like skin pain. So it's not
Oh,
like joint pain or muscle pain. It's just kind of on the surface. And I'll get it. I first noticed it like on my forearms where they would like rub against my clothes or whatever
oh,
throughout
huh.
the day. And then sometimes I would get it like when I would wake up in the morning, like my legs, like if they were rubbing together in the middle of the night.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's just annoying. Like I can totally deal with that versus the fatigue where I was
yeah,
like, sometimes I'm just like putting on a movie for my kids to watch and like sleeping on the couch. Like, this is
yeah,
not good. And then the hair loss. So once I probably lost about 20 pounds, it started,
yeah,
but when the dose was really high, it was just like coming out in clumps.
yeah. Has it
Um,
stopped doing that or
it slowed again,
okay.
but once I lowered that dose, I really was like, I don't even care. I don't even care if I lose weight on the scale. Like, I just don't wanna lose muscle. So
Yeah.
I was definitely eating like, I was trying to hit 1,600 calories a day for a
Mm,
while. Now then the weight loss really did slow. So now I'm like,
mhm.
okay, I can do 1,200 again or 1,300. But yeah, like that did help. And getting that 130 grams of protein, which is a
Yeah.
challenge every day.
Did you try anything for the hair loss? Any like Nutrafol or any vitamin supplements, anything like that?
So I was just looking at Nutrafol today. I have lost hair at other times. I was a vegan in college
Hmm.
and I had a vitamin B12 and an iron deficiency
Ye
anemia and I was losing my hair. And then once I stopped that, I my hair came
It
right
came
back.
back.
So
Okay.
part of me for a long time was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." But I'm 43. I don't feel like I'm perimenopausal, but maybe I am, and this could be a symptom from that too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was just looking today like, maybe I should try Nutrafol, but I know it's kind of
Yeah.
expensive and it's a commitment for, like, quite a
Yeah.
while. And then I right at the beginning actually bought Rogaine and because it's I think a little cheaper and just I thought it'd be real easy, but it's not. It makes your hair sticky
Uh,
and I think it's for like your part widening and it wasn't that. It's just kind of like especially around the temples, it's just
yeah.
coming out. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I had the a similar problem, kind of like right in the middle of my weight loss. I felt like a lot of hair was coming out, and I had asked my hairdresser, and she suggested the Nutrafol. She said she'd seen
okay.
a lot of people have success with it. So I looked at it, and then I was like, it's kind of expensive. So I was just
Mhm.
wondering if you went that route. I was doing like a biotin supplement for a while. I've heard kind of mixed reviews on that, but I do take a multivitamin. Are you taking
Okay.
any other
Yeah.
supplements do you take?
I got the this is embarrassing. So the
Oh,
Centrum Gummy multivitamins and,
yeah.
like, because sometimes I still just want sugar, and
Yeah,
so
sure.
that's my dessert.
Yeah, perfect.
But, like,
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to have 2, and sometimes I'll have, like, 4
Oh, well,
because 'cause they're
you
just
don't
so
OD on
good.
the vitamins, but
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully it just goes right out if you
Yeah,
take
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do the fiber gummies.
Okay.
So I keep them on my desk, and I have to just I don't wanna take more than 2 because,
Okay, you have the
fiber.
effects. Okay. Do
But I
you
do
like
they're like
those?
my
Are
little
they effective?
treat. Yeah, I mean, I've my biggest side effect has been constipation, like, kind of throughout, so I find if I can keep things moving with the daily fiber supplements and the water and remember to eat vegetables, I generally
Mhm.
don't have a problem, but, occasionally I still do, but
Right.
I think it does help. I
Okay.
think it does, and I like a gummy.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
fun. So my 3-year-old caught on, and so
yeah.
she'll, like, beg.
Oh,
Sometimes I'm like, okay, you can have one,
yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think
Well,
it's good.
my girls are 18 and 20, and I've gotten them finally to take a vitamin, and they will only do the gummy vitamins.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
whatever works.
Whatever works.
Whatever
Yeah.
works, as long as you're getting those vitamins in. And my
Mhm.
daughter had a B vitamin deficiency last semester in college, and she didn't know what it was. So I know how
Okay.
that can affect, like,
Yeah,
everything.
everything.
So
So on the iron deficient, so when I first started the medication, when my doctor did my labs, I had low iron. And okay, so I also have to say, back to my doctor, I think this worked for her and her family. So she recommended being as close to like low fat vegan as possible, like just somewhere on this vegetarian to vegan spectrum. And for my iron, she was like, well, just eat beans and lentils and chickpeas. And
all
I
right.
I was very skeptical of this because I had been a vegan previously
Yeah.
and I really was really, really serious about it. Like I tracked all my food and I still had that anemia issue.
Mm.
So so I did the best I could and I did eat a lot of lentils, chickpeas, peas, edamame, all of it and my iron went down some more. So then I had a friend who had had bariatric surgery and she recommended a certain iron, like a melting, like
Supplement.
you put it under your tongue and yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I liked it, but it did kind of push me towards constipation.
Mm.
So I'm not super good about taking it every day. I still have it and I try to take it, but I maybe take it like twice a week. But my doctor actually said, even if you take it every other day, you should still see results.
Huh.
So I'm like, try to at least get to every other day.
So are you still
Um,
doing the almost vegan thing, or do you eat like
no,
chickens? Okay, so you
yeah,
eat more.
once I lost the muscle, I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
I didn't think I was already very skeptical and
yeah.
then like, "Oh, no." So I added in but they're lean because of my cholesterol. I'm worried that
Yeah.
saturated fat maybe raises it. So
Yeah.
so for protein shakes, I'll do pea protein shakes
Mhm.
and also whey, trying
Yeah.
to get multiple protein sources. And then for meats, I'll just mostly do like chicken, turkey. Sometimes I'll do salmon. My 12-year-old has a fish allergy, so I try not to
Yeah.
bring it in the house. Otherwise, I'd
Yeah.
be having it like 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Um, and then I do eat a lot of one other dish that I make all the time, and I always have it prepped in my fridge, is the Jen Aniston salad. If you Google it, there's lots of different recipes, but it's basically like it's like a tabbouleh with
Uh-huh.
extra stuff thrown in. So like you can do quinoa or barley, parsley, feta cheese, onions, and chickpeas. And then I also add in peas and edamame and it also has cucumbers. So I put in like a
Ooh,
ton of cucumbers. And it's
yeah.
just like, really refreshing. I can grab it and I'm getting like 8 different types of food. And then I can add some like rotisserie chicken on top if I want to add even more protein to it.
Yeah.
And it's a good source of fiber. So I
Well,
do that.
yeah, that I'll have to look at that. Sounds like something I would like. And I need things I can just have in the fridge. Like I
Yeah.
forget, and then it's lunchtime and I'm like, I don't want to cut
What am
up
I
a
gonna
million
have?
vegetables.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I just grab it. I make a big bowl and then I put it into, little meal prep containers.
Yeah.
And my husband and I definitely eat it. My kids aren't that into it.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to
what are
get
you gonna
kids to eat
do?
salad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Let's see. Have you gotten rid of like old clothes? Have you gone downsized?
Yeah, so we moved into an apartment from, like, a house in the suburbs,
Mhm.
and everything is always on the verge of getting thrown out. Like, it's so hard to downsize like that with 2 kids.
Yeah.
So, I go through my closet regularly and just donate stuff that I don't want. But one day, I set up my phone on the tripod, and I tried on every single thing in my closet.
Oh, wow.
This was probably about 30 pounds into weight loss, and I just felt
Uh-huh.
like I didn't it's so weird. I still don't even know, like, where my body is in space or, like,
Yeah.
what fits. Like, when I
Yeah.
go to the store, I do the neck test with pants where you put the waistband around your neck, and if it matches, it's probably good. Because I don't have any idea. So even trying on my older clothes, like it was very eye-opening to see it on the camera, and I'd see like, oh, that's like
Yeah.
saggy, like that's
Yeah,
not looking
isn't it
good.
funny how when you see it on a picture, it's different than looking just in the mirror?
Yeah,
Yeah.
even just pictures of myself now and previously, it's very bizarre, and
Yeah.
I really don't know. I think that the Pilates and the weightlifting kinda helps me figure out
Yeah.
where my body is, but
Yeah, for sure.
it's really weird. I'm still
Yeah.
not quite adjusted to that.
Yeah, it's maybe body dysmorphia, like, I don't feel like I've lost 50 pounds, but I still look and I still think, "Oh, I'm still a size 12. All these sizes must just run big is why I'm able to wear"
Yeah,
like, it doesn't, like, compute.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
So
I keep telling my husband, like,
yeah.
I think since I last wore a size 8, they changed the sizes, so now an 8's
Yeah.
bigger because, like, why am I wearing an 8? It's
Yes.
really weird.
Although the only thing I have, like, to go that my mind is playing tricks on me is because I have this pair of jeans that I've had in my closet for years that never fit, and occasionally I would
Okay.
try to and sometimes I could pull them on past the thighs, and sometimes I could get them up to my hips, but I've
Yeah.
never been able to put them on and button them, and now I can put them on and button them, and they
Oh,
fit.
yeah.
And so I'm like, "Well, I know this was a smaller size,
Mhm.
so I know
Yeah,
that tells
something has
me."
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just the weirdest feeling, so,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I so my Pilates teacher is also well, she's on, like, a very low dose of compounded semaglutide.
Uh-huh.
So and we like, I think it was, like, my 3rd lesson when she was like, "So what started you in Pilates?" And I was like, "Well, my
Yeah.
doctor recommended it. She put me on a weight loss medication and recommended this, and here I
Yeah.
am." And so it's actually been nice to talk to her about it where I'm like, and when you do the Pilates, like, your legs will be up in the air like this,
Yeah.
and every week, like, my legs would look slightly different, and, like, I'd be like, "This is really freaking me out. I don't know whose legs these are." So, at least she understood because I feel like if you're not on it, you don't get it, and the person just sounds
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally get it. Yeah, so with Pilates, it's like on machines and stuff, right? You're,
Mhm.
like, doing
Yeah,
the yeah, I have a friend who
yeah.
owns a Pilates. I haven't ever done that. I'm surprised. That's the one exercise I don't think I've ever gone and done, but it looks really interesting with just the machines and the
Yeah.
resistance and all that. So,
It
um,
doesn't feel to me, it doesn't feel like a workout where you're well, it is a workout. I mean, you get sweaty, but it
yeah,
doesn't feel like it's not boring because sometimes, like, your legs are, like, back over your head or you're, like, flipping over and grabbing the straps, and so,
yeah,
like, you're too distracted to, like, realize, like, "Oh, this is really hard."
yeah,
So, I
yeah. During
recommend it.
over COVID, I did a lot of Pure Barre. There's, like, a
Okay.
chain called Pure Barre, and it's has a lot of Pilates in it, so
Oh,
and I always felt like, well, I wasn't because before I had done a lot of running and a lot of, like CrossFit type workouts, and I'm like, "Well, with this, I feel like I'm working out, but I'm not killing myself." You know what I mean? Like,
mhm,
it's still a good
mhm.
workout, and I'm working these muscle groups because I think before I always had it in my mind that to lose weight, I had to, like, do something very strenuous, and now I find that that's really not the case at all.
I
So,
know. Isn't that crazy?
yeah.
Like, I spent my whole life thinking like, "Well, you're just not working hard enough." Because like, I
Yes.
could do other things, like, I was
Yeah.
very capable in other ways, like, I oh, even with working so hard, usually the most I could lose was like 10 or 15 pounds,
Yeah.
and then now it's like, I've got this, but and also I am making incremental changes that add up over time,
Yeah.
but I'm with you, like, just doing the gentle workouts, like, it feels good to my body.
Feels
Granted, sometimes the heavy
Mhm.
workouts do too, but I don't like, when I was a vegan in college, I was also running 6 miles a day,
Yeah, that's
and yeah, like, why was I doing that? I don't know.
'cause we thought we had to, because if we weren't, like,
Yeah,
dying, then we weren't, losing any weight or I felt like I wasn't
yeah,
getting anywhere, but yeah,
right.
That's great.
Yeah,
So
it's
do
like,
you
just work
hear
harder.
food noise? Do you feel like you know the term food noise?
I don't, but sometimes, like when I was on those higher doses, I would
Yeah.
like somehow forget to take my shot on the day that I was supposed to take it. I was like, I can't do it. So I might like stretch it out to like 10 days or even 2 weeks. And
Uh-huh.
having a 3-year-old means sometimes, sorry, my son is popping in here. He's off school today for like a conference day. And
Oh,
he,
nice.
he
Okay.
just popped out behind the computer. So, yeah. So, having a toddler means you have little bits of food that maybe aren't like meeting my
Yeah.
protein or vegetable goals.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I would have like kind of felt not bad about, but I was very moralistic about my weight and what I was eating. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, well, if I want to, like, few of her goldfish, or the other day she just stuck a tater tot in my mouth, and I'm like, oh, thanks,
Here,
honey.
mommy.
Yeah, who knows
Thanks,
where
mommy.
I've been. So like, I think before I would have, or especially like doing keto or something, like, oh my gosh, that was like half my carbs for the day. But
Yeah.
like with this, I'm like, if I want to like grab a little bit and take the mommy tax of your food, then I will do that.
Yeah, it's been very, very freeing in terms of things I feel I can and can't eat like that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. And it is weird to realize how I had inherited these sort of moralistic views from like our culture, or really not even, I don't feel like my parents gave me unhealthy views about food or weight, but I will say I'm adopted, and
Oh,
I have a very different body type than they have, especially on my
uh,
dad's side. They're all like 6 feet tall and like 150 pounds, like very
wow.
tall and thin. And I am not as tall. I'm not
Yeah.
short, and just like round, naturally
Uh,
round. And it wasn't until I was 36 that I found, through like DNA testing, found my biological family.
oh, wow.
And I looked just like them. Like, isn't that weird? Like,
Yeah.
anyway, so now I kind of understand, like, there is some biology, like, yes, I do have this medication that has helped me amazingly, and also
Yeah.
I am making small changes, and also there's some, nature versus nurture. The nature is winning out as well. So I think it's just
Yeah.
really multifactorial, but somehow I just put it all on myself and was like, I'm a failure. But no.
Yeah, well, I mean, I go back to obesity is a disease, and so you're fighting with your body all the time to try to overcome this disease, and this medication
Mhm.
just fills in the things that we're missing, and all of a sudden,
Mhm.
oh, I don't need to finish my child's plate anymore, or
Right.
I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah,
don't
or finish my
need.
whole plate at a restaurant, like, that never
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
always, we never take home food, just eat
Right.
it while we're here. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so now we take half home or whatever all the time. So
Yeah.
it's just such a different, like, different way of thinking, but it's like my mind has kind of shifted, and I guess that's what
Mhm.
this medication does. So
Yeah. Also, have you noticed, I was talking to my husband about this, how for me, it has like a leveling effect. Like, I have ADHD and my husband has ADHD. And for both of us, like, the kind of ADHD, it feels like there's a lot of highs and lows emotionally that go along
uh
with that. And my highs aren't as high, but my lows aren't as low. And
it
it
just
feels
kind of
like
levels
this,
you out.
yeah, like, there's still a
Interesting.
range.
Yeah.
But like when we found out about my son's diagnosis, I think it
Mm.
actually made it less hard. I think it was
Oh,
just because it just wasn't the crash. It
instant.
was kind of
Wow.
just able to, like, okay, slow and steady. And
Yeah.
I imagine, I have no idea, but I feel like a lot of people might just live in this mid-range, and that's kind of a nice place to live.
Have you ever been
And
on
also,
medication for the ADHD prior?
no, I grew up in the 80s, so, like, girls didn't have ADHD.
Yeah, that was only a boy
And
thing, right.
yeah, yeah. And then I went to college, and I one of my undergraduate majors was education, and my education professors would be like joking, like, "Oh, you're my ADHD kid." And but like I had coping skills at that point, so I just never thought I
Oh.
needed it. But as I've kind of gotten more into midlife and I want
Mhm.
to actually start a new career, because while I had my son, I think he's had this brain tumor his whole life. So we had
Mhm.
been taking him to all different types of therapies and trying all these things. And now he's being treated. And then he's also in a special school for kids with disabilities. So it's like all my time has freed up.
Oh,
And
wow. Oh,
I
wow,
think,
okay.
well, now I see these possibilities for things I could do. And I think I want to get finally on ADHD medication. And then also, honestly, I know this sounds weird, but seeing what Zepbound kind of did for me mentally and how it just leveled me out,
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe if I was on the right ADHD meds, it could kind of help me even more. So,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah.
Definitely
So anyway,
something to talk to your
got an
doctor
appointment.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
kind of
and it's
exciting.
interesting because a lot of people report with these GLP-1 medications, and even I have felt some foods don't give me such a rush,
Yeah.
my highs aren't as high, my lows aren't as and it but even just with food, not so much. I mean, I haven't noticed it so much with emotion, but definitely with food, if I feel like I'm more leveled out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I could see
Definitely
where
with
maybe
food.
it could help with yours as well. So, yeah, yeah, interesting.
I don't, anecdotally, I've seen people say that, but also someone else that I know did Ozempic, and she actually stopped it because she felt that it just kind of made her mood go down. So
Oh,
I think it's a your mileage may vary thing, but
yeah, for
for me
sure.
and my husband, it's been really good. So
Well, let's see. Are there any, like, tips or things you wish you knew when you started this medication that you want people to know
I really wish I would have gotten that DEXA scan at
at the
first,
beginning?
because I
Yeah.
thought I'd lost muscle and I don't really know. But I am glad that I got it. So if you have a DEXA near you, get it, like, I think they say every 3 to 6 months, and
Okay.
then always use the same one, because if you use a different machine, it
Oh.
might not be calibrated right.
Oh, interesting, like a scale.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So go for the same one, and it was a really positive experience, like, they, like, sit down with you and go over the results, and I was like, "I
Oh,
don't wanna
wow.
do this," but, like, it was very positive, so,
Yeah.
find one with good reviews and stick
Yeah,
to that one.
I need to do that. I need to do that. I'll put it on
Yeah,
my to-do list.
it feels it's a good, I'm glad I did it, and then I got my husband to do it because I was like, "This was great."
Yeah.
Um, and I really liked, despite my annoyance about my doctor about the dosing, I
Yeah.
really liked her advice to get started of, "Okay, start with just walking and try to get your heart rate up to zone 2,
Yeah.
if you can." And you can, like, I had to Google it to see what it was. And I will say that starting with the low-fat vegan, we did not have any digestive issues.
Hmm.
So if you are starting it and you wanna try starting with that, great, try it for a week or 2, but
Yeah.
then, like, I didn't stick with it, so decide what you wanna do.
Yeah, that
Um,
that would be a challenge for me, I think. We had a doctor, Christopher and I had a doctor who said, "Oh, you need to eat a plant-based diet," and we're like, "What? How do
mhm,
you do that?" So
mhm.
there are
Yeah,
people that do it and love it, so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't
There's great
if it
cookbooks.
works, great, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think you just have to be careful about supplementing. One other thing I'll say is we live in Houston, it's super hot here half the
Mhm.
year. So our hobby kind of was trying new restaurants. It's like a great food city.
Yeah,
And we pretty quickly had to give that up, partly because we were just, again, like, for my husband's digestion, scared of
yeah,
that, and it just wasn't as fun. And then,
interesting.
you'd get something and then you'd fill up on the appetizer and then you have more food coming, and it feels kind of like a challenge, and just was not great. And we also kind of just we had kind of stopped drinking or cut down our drinking at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and now we just don't really have a desire to drink. We will, like, if we have
Yeah.
to,
Yeah,
but,
no,
like,
same.
it's
Yeah.
not it's not it's not great. So, then we started finding things to do together as a family or as a couple. So, if you have somebody, if you have a partner and they're not on the medication, if you guys can just, like, take walks together. Now we've started playing pickleball. I guess that's another
Oh,
exercise thing we
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So I do go to the gym for pickleball, and it's fun, and I think it works out my shoulders. But mostly it's just fun, and the
Yeah.
weather's nice and it's great. But like, we've started trying to find hobbies that are non-food, but that are indoors, or
Because of the heat. Yeah.
during the nice weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that aren't like too expensive. And so that's kind of what we've settled on. But just know, like, when you start the journey, you might have to, I mean, everything changes. It really does. So get
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
And it's
I love
great.
that. I love that you found something non-food related as an activity to do. So
Yeah.
that's really great.
Yeah,
So
it's been
awesome.
really fun. And it's also like with ADHD, I feel like when you're walking, you actually have better conversations. Like, we get a lot more planning done. We take like our planner and walk, and I'll write
Oh
down
my
all of our
gosh.
to-dos. And yeah, so it's a win-win for us. So
Yeah.
whenever I'm kind of like an evangelist for this medication, and I feel like it's so life-changing. In fact, before I started compounding, when I was still having to go to the pharmacy, I noticed as I lost weight, it actually got more awkward at the pharmacy picking up my medication. And the first time that happened, the pharmacy tech was like, "Well, this must be pretty good medicine if you're willing to spend that much money on it."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I was just like, "Actually, it's changed my life." Like, it's amazing. I feel like it's given me, like, 20 more years of health,
Wow.
because it took away my joint pain. She got an earful,
Good
and I
for
don't think
you.
she meant
No, good
it,
for you. That's
but
awesome. Yeah.
I understand too, like, it was $550, like, it's crazy expensive, and
Yeah.
I understand I understand that, like, not everyone can afford that, and I feel really fortunate that we were able to afford it when we
Yeah.
could. But that's another reason why I'm glad I switched to compounding, because it got, like, really, like, when I was bigger, nobody said anything, and then as I lost weight the last 3 times, it was not good, and so my husband said he'd start picking it up for me, but we switched to compounded, so
Every time I have Christopher has done, the branded and also done compounded, and every time I have to go pick up that branded, I just have to steel myself
I
because
know.
it's like they don't know how to put in the coupon, they give me a dirty look, they're like, "I don't think
Yes.
I don't this coupon's not gonna work, this is $1,200." I'm like, "I've gotten this
Right.
12 times, I know it."
Yes.
Like,
I
"Do
know, and it's
not."
like, do you mind just please trying to put in this number? Like, can you please do it? Like, the last time they were like, "You're gonna have to call Eli Lilly." So I sat there on my phone for like 30 minutes on hold with Eli Lilly with my 3-year-old with me, and then finally they called me back over and they were willing to do it for me. It was crazy.
I've never heard "call Eli Lilly." I've like usually it's, "Your
Yeah.
doctor didn't put in the right diagnosis code." I'm like, "This is for
Okay.
obesity, we're obese, like, what's the
Yeah.
what other code do you
Not
need?"
rocket science.
Or they're like, "Oh, I can't figure it out, you're gonna have to come back later." I'm like,
Mhm.
"I have to
Yeah.
drive home, and you're gonna figure it
Mhm.
out, and then I have to come back?" Yeah, so
Yeah.
compounding is definitely,
Yeah.
a little less stressful when it comes to, like
Yeah.
well, recently it's
Well,
not
yeah.
been so stress-free, but hopefully that'll I don't know, we'll figure something out. Mochi will
Yes.
figure it out.
Yes.
I've got
I've got my trust in the lawyers
yeah,
that are dealing with this. Like, "You guys
yeah,
go get them."
yeah. Wasn't that lawsuit filed, like, somewhere in Texas? Oh, it might have been
Yeah,
Fort
in
Worth
Fort
or
Worth.
something. Yeah,
Yes.
not
Yes.
Houston,
Yeah.
but
So,
in Texas.
yes. Yes. So, yeah,
Alright.
hopefully it's gonna work out for
Yeah,
us, and if not, like, we'll figure it out,
yeah,
because it really has been life-changing, so,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's
That's what I
been
said.
amazing.
I'm gonna reorder it until I can't, and then when I
Mhm.
can't, I'll try something else.
Yes, I will deal
Semaglutide
with
or,
it.
something
Yeah.
else. There'll be another GLP-1 out there hopefully that we can go to next.
Right. That's what
So,
I think. If we can hold on until, like, retatrutide and the other
yeah,
ones come out, then we'll be fine.
exactly, exactly. Well, it's been so great talking
Yeah,
to you
this
today, Elisa.
is wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much
Um,
for having me on. I've just really enjoyed, when I'm like making dinner, on the days when I make dinner,
Yeah.
I'll like put y'all shows on and put the interviews on. So I thought it would be good to come on and kind of, I am like an evangelist. So
Yeah.
I just had to like
Yeah,
share
no,
it with people.
me too. I want everybody to know about it. So that's awesome. If anybody out there, if you'd like to come on the show, be on the Downsized Dish, you can send me an email. I have a new email address. It's Lorraine@thedownsized.org. That's LARAINE at thedownsized.org. And so send me an email. We'll get you set up with a time. It's super easy. Anybody and everybody, we want to talk to everyone. So whether you're just starting your journey, in the middle, at the end, if you're just thinking about it, let's chat about it. And I hope that you guys out there will like and subscribe to our channel. We also have a website called thedownsized.org where you can go, and we have some resources on there, links to news articles. We have some Amazon links where I have products that I like, my fiber gummies that we mentioned earlier. We are Amazon affiliates, so we make a small commission on those. And that's really it. That's really it. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
It's
you.
been great having you and learning about your journey. And thanks everyone out there for watching. And I'm Lorraine Durham for The Downsized. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.